Sleepers, breakouts, and busts for the second half. Up next on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Thursday, July 17th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Chris Towers. And let's kick things off with some sleepers. Chris, you are up first.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with Zebby Matthews, a guy we talked a lot about early in the season, and then he went on the IL with a shoulder injury, and I think people have kind of forgotten, but he made his first rehab start this week. His velocity looked fine. He struck out 9 over 4 one-hit innings at AAA. He was someone who wasn't great early on, but still had a 30% strikeout rate. The added velocity was leading to a lot more missed bats, and if he can just keep the ball in the yard, I think Zebby Matthews could be a really, really good pitcher.
Let's stick with the Twins. Another prospect here, Luke Keeschel, who got called up back in April.
Yes.
He looked awesome in a small sample size, only 7 games, but hit .368 with 5 walks, 5 steals, 90.8 average exit velocity. He suffered a fractured forearm. He's working his way back. Down in Florida, taking live batting practice before he goes out on a rehab assignment. I'm thinking he's back late July, early August. Jack of all trades type, good batting average, good OBP, little bit of pop, has some speed. Twins are going to let him run. 25% roster. I would be looking to stash Luke Keeschel right now. Chris, back over to you for another sleeper.
I've got a decent number of them. You can check them all out on CBSSports.com, but I'm going to go with Reed Detmers, who, if you've listened to this show for the past, 8, 9, 12 years, maybe how long we've been talking about Reed Detmers, you might be thinking, stop trying to make Reed Detmers happen. Well, he is happening. All right. It's as a reliever, and you probably haven't noticed because he's been a setup man for Kenley Jansen most of the season. Kenley Jansen seems very likely to be traded at the deadline. I know it's the Angels, and you never quite count on them to do the right thing, but I think they're going to trade him. They are not likely to make the playoffs, and Reed Detmers looks like he could be a really good closer. He has 20 innings since the start of June with a 1.35 ERA, 25 strikeouts, only 8 walks in those 20 innings. I think he leads the Angels in saves the rest of the way.
All right, we shall see. Next up for me is going to be Ha-Sung Kim with the Tampa Bay Rays. He's 24% rostered, so widely available. Has only appeared in 6 games, but has 1 homer, 1 steal, a 107-mile-per-hour batted ball. I think that's a really good sign for him coming back from a shoulder injury. And just 2 years ago, hit .260, 17 homers, 38 steals in 152 games with the Padres. I think we could see in the second half a 15-homer, 30-steal pace the rest of the way for Ha-Sung Kim, which would make him a serviceable middle infielder. Let's move over to breakouts, Chris. Give me a name for breakouts.
Yeah, Chase Burns. If you clicked on the video, you saw already. I think Chase Burns is more talented than Jacob Misiorowski. I know Misiorowski made the All-Star game and looked pretty good, but I think Chase Burns is a better pitcher and will show that in the second half of the season. Fastball comfortably sits in the high 90s, can touch triple digits with ease, and the slider is a phenomenal swing and miss pitch. There's been some bumps in the road in his first handful of starts, mostly that Boston start. Struck out 10 in his last game to close out the first half. I think that's going to be a runway for Chase Burns to take off and potentially be talked about as a top 30 starting pitcher by the end of the season.
Completely agree. Through 4 starts, he has a 110 stuff plus, and if he qualified, that would rank 6th along with Spencer Schwellenbach. It would be better than Jacob deGrom, Hunter Brown, and Paul Skeens. So some serious stuff here from Chase Burns. Breakout for me, going back to the well from before the season, Jordan Westburg. I really just think he needs to stay healthy. I think the injuries have stopped this breakout from happening thus far. But heading into the break, he was getting hot. 21 games, 293 batting average, 6 homers, 927 OPS, 93.8 average exit velocity. We know he's a great athlete, 91st percentile sprint speed. I think if Jordan Westburg just stays healthy in the second half, we get big power, handful of steals, and it could finally be happening here for Jordan Westburg. Let's take a quick break. When we return, a few more breakouts and then some busts. We'll do that right after this.
Hi. Novocaine?
Novocaine! Novocaine is now streaming on Paramount+.
You're gonna love this.
Oh, you're strong! It's wildly entertaining and an absolute blast.
I'm in.
Novocaine, rated R, now streaming on Paramount+.
Welcome back in, FBT Express. All right, let's get back to breakouts for the second half, Chris. Who you got?
Roman Anthony. What we've seen over the past couple of years, that there was that stretch with like Fernando Tatis and Ronald Acuna and all these top prospects who came up and just destroyed baseballs immediately. We're kind of past that era, and it seems like it takes everybody about a month to 2 months to really figure things out. And we're right around that point with Roman Anthony, and it's worth keeping in mind that while he's been a little underwhelming as a hitter so far, all the stuff that we liked about him as a prospect is still there. He's got a great approach at the plate, very low chase rate, doesn't swing and miss all that much. He's got a 93.8 mile per hour average exit velocity. That would be tied with Matt Olson for the 7th best mark in baseball if he had enough plate appearances to qualify. And if you just look at when he hits the ball in the air, so line drives and fly balls, his average exit velocity jumps to 98.9 miles per hour. That's better than Aaron Judge. That would be the 5th highest mark. So he needs to elevate the ball more often. He probably needs to be a little more aggressive at the plate. He's probably taking a few too many strikes. But man, I think Roman Anthony, when he figures it out, it could be like James Wood in the second half last year where he just vaults himself into that top 50 conversation by the end of the year.
This next one might be cheating a little bit. It kind of looks like he is breaking out, but no one has realized because he missed 2 months with an oblique injury, and that is Noelvi Marte, who in 28 games this season is hitting .284, 6 homers, 5 steals, 884 OPS, 150 game pace. That's a 30-25 season here. He's lowered the strikeout rate to just 16%. He hits the ball very hard. He's got a 116.7 max exit velocity. I think the final step to really maximize his upside is get that ground ball rate down a little bit, but there's power, there's speed, there's a great ballpark, there's opportunity, and he's available in about a third of CBS leagues right now. So if you need a third baseman or just a bat with some upside, Noelvi Marte, I think, could have a really, really big second half. Let's go over to the busts. What do you have here, Chris?
Yeah, look, all right. So I just want to say, like, when we say a bust, it doesn't mean we think the player's bad. We just think they'll be less valuable for fantasy than they were in the first half, certainly. And I think that's especially true of Drew Rasmussen, who has been just terrific for the Rays. He's been arguably their best pitcher in a staff that's been really good. The problem is he's already thrown 91.1 innings this season. He threw just 36 last year. And the Rays have said that he's on a 150 inning limit. So you start to do the math there, and like even if they don't care about having him available for the postseason, that's only 60-ish more innings. That's 12 starts of 5 innings per start. That's if he never goes more than 5 innings. Well, if he never goes more than 5 innings, that means he's probably not going to be all that valuable, especially in points leagues, which is a bummer because he is RP eligible. That should be his best format. But if he's capped out at 5 innings per start, there are going to be shorter ones than that. I think there's going to be stretches where he skipped to try to get to that innings limit a little later. I think there's a decent chance Drew Rasmussen just isn't that worth rostering in the second half, unfortunately.
This one is tough because Kris Bubic has looked like a breakout for a majority of the first half, but it looks like maybe he's wearing down and the innings are catching up here. He's up to 108 2/3. My bad. Up to 108 2/3 innings here. And last year, 66 total innings, so already a huge jump. He only had 16 innings back in 2023, and we already started to see him fade 6 starts before the break, a 4.86 ERA, 153 whip here. The walks are up during that time. I still think, he'll have some okay starts here, but maybe the Royals start to taper back his workload a little bit. If you can get top 24-ish value for Kris Bubic, I would look to do that heading into the second half. And Chris, wrap it up here with a one final bust.
Jacob Wilson's super fun. He's got that batting stance where it looks like he's riding a horse sideways or something. He's just like a weird player, and somehow he has like the best contact skills in baseball, and he's hitting .332, and I think he's a really good contact hitter. But Luis Arias is also a really good contact hitter, and he's got one season with a .332 batting average. It's really hard to hit .332 over a full season. And if you look in the underlying numbers, Jacob Wilson's expected average, only .287. Doesn't hit the ball as hard as Luis Arias, actually, which is kind of surprising. Only hits the ball to the pull side in the air marginally more frequently, not like a huge difference there. So I really like Jacob Wilson. I think he's probably not a top 12 shortstop the rest of the way.
And I will quickly mention here Clay Holmes, who another one, reliever turned starter. He's up to 103 and a third innings. Last year, it was 63. He hasn't thrown this many innings since 2018. I think there could be some workload issues here in the second half. Perhaps the Mets try and limit him, and the walks have become a major problem. Final 5 starts heading into the break. He had more walks, 16, than strikeouts, 15. So I do think he's starting to wear down a little bit, and perhaps the Mets can limit Clay Holmes' workload as well. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.